In this video, we will look at how to multiply decimal numbers by a whole number. Let's take a look at how we multiply whole numbers first before we multiply decimal numbers. We can place the digits where they go, starting from the ones, the tens, and the hundreds, just to make sure we line them up properly. And then when we multiply by 4, we start off with the ones column. 4 times 6 is 24. We write the 4 and we carry the 2. Now we multiply 4 times 2, which is 8, plus 2 is 10. We write the 0 and we carry the 1. Now we multiply by the hundreds column. 4 times 1 is 4, plus 1 is 5. And so our answer is 504 in this example. Now let's look at how to multiply decimal numbers by a whole number. If we look at the place value chart again, we notice that there is a decimal number that we need to add. So we have to add the tenths column. Placing the decimal point and adding the tenths column, we can now write the digits 19.6 in the appropriate places. The 6 after the decimal point is in the tenths column. The 9 is in the ones, the 1 is in the tens column. Now we multiply by 8, which is in the ones column. And we start the same process, multiplying the 8 by the digit that is farthest at the right, which is the 6. So step 1, multiply the whole number by the digit farthest right first. This gives us 8 times 6, which is 48. We write the 8 and we carry the 4. Step 2, we continue to multiply digits by each place going left until we're finished. So therefore, 8 times 9 is 72, plus 4 is 76. We write the 6 and we carry the 7. Continuing, 8 times 1 is 8, plus 7 is 15. And since this is the last column, we write 15. Now we have to determine where the decimal point goes in our answer. You may be tempted to just pull down the decimal point where it is into the answer, but that is not how it works with multiplying decimals. Step 3 says you have to count the digits after the decimal point in the question. And I can see in the question there is only one digit after a decimal point. One digit. And therefore, step 4 says in our answer, we're going to place the decimal in the answer with the same number of digits. So one digit in the question and one digit in the answer. Then we place our decimal point. And we're done. The answer is 156.8. And that's how you do it. Let's look at another question. 27.82 multiplied by 5. Again, the place value chart. We notice there are 2 digits after the decimal point in the question. And so we have to add 2 more columns for tenths and hundredths. And then we can line up our digits, starting with hundredths going left, just to make sure we put every digit in the right place. 8 is in the tenths column, 7 is in the ones column, 2 is in the tens column. Now we multiply by 5. And again, we start with the rightmost column. 5 times 2 is 10. We write 0 and carry the 1. Now 5 times 8 is 40, plus 1 is 41. We write the 1 and carry the 4. Now 5 times 7 is 35, plus 4 is 39. We write the 9 and carry the 3. And lastly, 5 times 2 is 10, plus 3 is 13. Now we have to determine how many digits there were in the question and ensure that we have the same number of digits in the answer after the decimal point. We can see that the 8 and the 2 are after the decimal point in the question. That is 2 digits. And so in our answer, we need 2 digits before we put the decimal point, making our answer 139.10. Let's look at another question. 59.3 multiplied by 2. Again, we see that there is 1 digit after the decimal point in the question, and so we will need a tenths column in our question. And writing from the right to the left, we write 3 in the tenths column, 9 in the ones column, 5 in the tens column. Multiplied by 2, we start with the rightmost column. 2 times 3 is 6. 2 times 9 is 18, so we write the 8 and we carry the 1. And lastly, 2 times 5 is 10 plus 1 is 11. Again, we check. There's one digit after the decimal point in the question, and we need one digit after the decimal point in the answer. And our answer is 118.6. And that's how you do it. Another question, 63.47 multiplied by 9. We can see that there are two digits after the decimal point after 63. And so we will need the tenths and the hundredths column to write those digits. We start with the hundredths, 7 in the hundredths column, 4 in the tenths column, 3 in the ones column, 6 in the tens column. We do this just to make sure that we line them up properly. Multiply by 9. We start again with the rightmost column. 9 times 7 is 63. We put the 3 and we carry the 6. Now 9 times 4 is 36, plus 6 is 42. We write the 2 and we carry the 4. 9 times 3 is 27, plus 4 is 31. We write the 1 and we carry the 3. And lastly, 9 times 6 is 54, plus 3 is 57. Now we check to see how many digits there were in the question. And we notice 1, 2. There are 2 digits in the question. And in our answer, we need 2 digits as well from the right. 1, 2. Then we place our decimal point. The answer is 571.23. And this is starting to get easy now. Last question. 254.3 times 6. Again, lining it up. We notice that the 0.3 would mean that the 3 goes in the tenths column, 4 in the ones column, 5 in the tens column, and now we have 2 in the hundreds column, and we multiply by 6. Again, it's the same process, starting with the rightmost digit. 6 times 3 is 18. We write 8 and we carry the 1. 6 times 4 is 24, plus 1 is 25. We write 5 and we carry the 2. 6 times 5 is 30, plus 2 is 32. We write 2 and we carry the 3. And lastly, 6 times 2 is 12, plus 3 is 15. Now all we have to do is determine how many digits there are in the question. We can see that there is one digit after the decimal point. And in our answer, we make sure there is one digit after our decimal point. So our answer is 1,525.8. We often do not write the digits in the place value chart. We just simply write them without the headings of tenths, units, tens, and so on. And here's how we do that. If we have 64.3 multiplied by 7 and we wrote it out, 64.3, and we multiplied by 7 without any place value headings, we do the same thing. We start 7 times 3 is 21. We write the 1 and we carry the 2. And then we continue going left multiplying. 7 times 4 is 28 plus 2 is 30. We write the 0 and carry the 3. And lastly, 7 times 6 is 42 plus 3 is 45. We count the number of digits after the decimal point in the question. We can see that there is one digit in the question, and therefore we need one digit in the answer after the decimal point. There is our one digit. We place our decimal point, and now we have our answer, 450.1. Let's do another question this way before we finish. 25.76 times 3. Instead of writing headings, we're just going to write out the number 25.76 multiplied by 3. We ensure they're lined up along the right-hand side before we start to multiply. 3 times 6 is 18. We put 8 and carry the 1. Now 3 times 7 is 21, plus 1 is 22. We write 2 and carry the 2. Now 3 times 5 is 15, plus 2 is 17. We write 7 and we carry the 1. And lastly, 3 times 2 is 6, plus 1 is 7. Now to determine where the decimal point goes in the answer, we count the number of digits after the decimal point in the question. There is 2 digits in the question, and so therefore we need 2 digits at the right in the answer after the decimal point. We place our decimal point, and there's our answer, 77.28. And now you've solved the mystery of how to multiply decimals by whole numbers.